I told you that. It's just a rumor.
Don't believe it. Take one and pass.
Uh-oh, it's his.
But you know, the good thing about it is there's no grading, no failing, no passing. So it's not about a teacher. Passing. Now, a lot of work has already been done on this. Mainly, periods are listed on the left. All you have to do is take the events on the right and put them in at least, let's be fair and say at least through Exodus from Egypt. Now, if you want to go ahead and fit the others in on the page, that's fine. Take a few moments and fill in the events and all the events will fill all the blanks on the left. I didn't count them, but I was told that. Somebody looked at that video with sound off. That was funny. Okay, how's it going? Are we ready to do before the flood yet? Okay. Are there any extra ones get back there?
No, there weren't any.
You should have.
We got one.
We got one, we
And
were
one thing.
working together.
Oh, well, okay, and one lady. So that works out really well. Might be good to bring one with you, because you will need it occasionally, so you remember. We'll take just another minute or so, and then if you don't, then we'll just do what you have got, and go from there. The thing to remember is that this is not the first and it's not the last time we go over this. So as we go over it, you will learn it better, you'll be able to do it more quickly. Why don't we go ahead and give it a shot now? And if you get it right, great. If you just left it out, fill it in, and call it a learning experience. Okay, before the flood, we've got 3 blanks there. We could actually have had 5, but what's the first thing? Creation, first sin, and Abel. Right, and under the flood, we have the story of the building of the ark and under the scattering of the peoples, and then the patriarchs. And remember that Joseph is not a patriarch, but he's a link. That's why we include him in this part, the link. Then the Exodus from Egypt, we start out with baby Moses. No, you got the spies. The spies go in the well. And then.
So Balaam doesn't go there, right?
What?
Balaam doesn't, okay?
No. That occurs in the one. Roughly that is. Okay, from where now? Again, all the way from Egypt. Oh, okay. Exodus from Egypt, we've got baby Moses, burning bush, plagues, crossing the Red Sea, 10 commandments given, building of the tabernacle, spies, and of course it's with the story of the spies that we have the transition from the period of the Exodus to the period of wandering in the wilderness. Yeah, that's right. Where is that?
Well, building the ark should have been flooded, but I'm part of the covenant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, building the ark. Okay, then wandering in the wilderness, for those of you that, we have Korah, Dathan and Abiram, Moses' sin, and then Balaam. And then the conquest of the land, we got Joshua, become the leader. Yeah, the fall of Jericho. I just put first verse of Joshua. And, division of the land. Yeah, and the division of the land. Yeah. Okay, while you're remembering it, Kathy, that's for you. That's the last delivery. Delivered some very expensive mail today. I'm going to pay $1,200 for a round trip ticket to divide about 40 pieces of mail into it. All right. How did you do on this? Did fairly satisfied with Miss Bell? That's okay. Don't worry about Miss Bell. All right, I heard you name the Bible periods of history, and you did that really well. So I don't think we need to do that. Instead, tell you what I'll do. I'll give you one, and you tell me the one before or the one after. Try and see. All right? The divided kingdom. Now, there was nothing hard about that, right? All right? Let's say the Exodus. The life of Christ. Early church, right. All right. The scattering of the people.
Blood.
All right, that's good. And I know that Michael did a really good job taking you through, and he went through it just like I wanted him to, and he got, I think, Katie Barnea going through it again, got from Numbers 13, 14. I want to take a minute and let's just go back over that, because carefully spaced repetition is a very, very essential part of it. And that's why I've told all of you all along that don't get intimidated if the first time over something you say, that's just not sinking in. I'm not retaining all that. Well, very few people do the very first time or something. So don't worry about that. Right now, what I want you to do on this time through is instead of so much remembering the scriptures where they are, I want us to focus on knowing what is in each one of these periods just from a general standpoint. Now look at it like periods are boxes. They're boxes. And we're going to fill these boxes. The first thing, we just got to know what goes in this box. And then we'll fill it. So in the first box, which is before the flood, you already know that you have the stories like the creation of the world and Adam and Eve in the garden and the first sin and Cain and Abel. Now, you've heard those stories. Probably most of you have heard those stories most of your lives. So right now, I just want you to know that, okay, yeah, so those are the stories that go in that period. And then in the flood, well, that's pretty easy. What goes in the flood? The flood. See, this is not hard. So the flood goes in the flood. So such stories as the Noah building the ark, that goes in the flood. The destruction of all the life on the earth by the water. That's the flood. So the ark settling on Mount Ararat. That's in the flood. So I want you to begin to realize that these stories that may be somewhat isolated out here, we're putting them together and putting them in the boxes. And later on, we will learn the details, and we will keep on until we know the details. All right, then in the Tower of Babel, well, I mean the scattering of people or the Tower of Babel, there's basically one thing that happened. God divided the land. Now, everybody knows that. And then in the patriarchs, you've already named the patriarchs. Let's name the three patriarchs. Who's the link? Joseph is the link between the story of the period of the patriarchs and the Exodus. Now, I want you to be aware of the stories go in this period. These are stories that the call of Abraham out of Ur of the Chaldees is moved down to the land of Canaan with his nephew Lot and his wife Sarah. They're coming down, being in the land, building an altar, moving on to the south, going down to Egypt. Do you remember the story of Abraham lying about who Sarah was? Yeah. See, that story goes in this period. They come back up out of it, up into the land. He and Lot have some much they can't do together. So Abraham says, you choose where you'll go. I'll go the other way. Lot chooses to go down towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham remains in the land. Story of Ishmael being born. Now remember, you're not trying right now to remember every bit of this stuff and be able to spit it out to me. I'm wanting you to monitor it and say, oh, those stories go to this period of the patriarchs. So any story about Abraham goes in this period. Any story about Isaac goes in this. Any story about Jacob. Now, for example, do you remember the story of Esau coming in very, very hungry? And Jacob was cooking some food there, some pottage. And Esau said, I'm starving to death. Can I have some of that pottage? If you want to remember that story. And Esau sold his birthright. Well, see, that's the end of the story. So, these stories go in here. And, of course, the last story in Genesis, occupying from 37 through 50, is the story of Joseph. And you've heard the story of Joseph many, many times. All right, so just sort of get a picture, an idea that those are the stories that go in the Bible. Then in the Exodus, all right, now listen again and concentrate. You will have heard most of these stories. We start out with the commission of slavery imposed on the Israelites by Pharaoh. His continuing efforts to reduce the number of the Israelites by one measure and another. Moses is born and is adopted by Pharaoh's daughter. He grows up. He goes out to help his people. And he kills an Egyptian. He flees out into the wilderness. Becomes a shepherd. The burning bush goes back, and Moses goes back to Egypt. The plagues, right? The plagues, see? The escape of Israel from Egypt, they get to the Red Sea is divided, they go across the Red Sea. This period, the Exodus. They go down to Mount Sinai, God makes a covenant with them. This is where the tabernacle was built. You may have heard of the tabernacle all of your life and wondered a little bit about it. The tabernacle was built in this period. The priesthood was given, the law of Moses was given, and they stayed there a little over a year. They had been out of Egypt a little over a year. They left and went heading north until they came to Kadesh Barnea. And from there the spies were sent up into the land. The spies came back. What did the spies say? Can't do it. We can't do it. Right. Can't do it. Why? Giants and walled cities. Can't do it. That brings an end to the Exodus. The period of the Exodus. The reason why I call this whole period the Exodus is because until they get to Kadesh Barnea and turn back, they're still going forward. They're still moving forward until they get to Kadesh Barnea. Now we can subdivide it into smaller groups, but that makes it harder to remember. So you start out getting the big pieces, and then you move down to the little pieces. So that's the reason why in this period of the Exodus we include more than the actual escape of Israel from Egypt. So we include in this everything from the condition of Israel in slavery until their forward movement stops at Kadesh Barnea, Numbers 13 and 14. After that, we have the wandering in the wilderness. Now, the wandering in the wilderness has lots of stories in it, but not near as many as you would expect for that period of time. The first actual story you encounter in the wandering in the wilderness is the story of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Anybody here has not heard of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram? They were the ones that rebelled against God's reign, criticizing Moses and Aaron, saying, hey, we want to be priests. We're not satisfied with being Levites and Reubenites. We want to be priests too. And so it worked out that when Moses came out to settle things, he said, if something unusual happens, these men die in a very unusual way, then you know they have offended God. But if they die an ordinary death again, then you know that there's no problem there. Well, no sooner had he spoken the word than the earth just opened up, a great big canyon-like thing, and all their tents and everything fell down in it, and then the earth folded back together. I'd say that's rather unusual. God made his point. Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Have you ever heard of Aaron's rod that budded? That story follows immediately upon that one and is connected with it because the reason why Aaron's rod budded was God was telling the Israelites, look, one more time I'm going to tell you which tribe I want to be the priest. So a rod was taken from each tribe and laid up behind the tabernacle and overnight. And then the next day Moses went and looked at the rods, and God said, now I'll show you. You'll be able to see the one that I have in mind. He went around there and looked at these rods, and there are 11 of these rods that are just ordinary sticks. Well, actually, they was had to have 13 for this purpose. Right? Okay, because Levi was not counted ordinarily with the tribes. So you've got 12 tribes that are ordinarily reckoned as the tribes of Israel, plus Levi. When he looked at these 13 rods, there was one of them, why even you, or I, not being Moses, could have picked out which rod God had in mind, because Aaron's rod was cut from an almond tree, and it had put out limbs and buds and flowers and ripe almonds. And this is Aaron's rod that budded. Also in this period we have such stories as Miriam. That one actually happened right at the beginning of the period. Miriam and Aaron criticized Moses. Later on in it, we have such stories as Moses and Aaron are to speak to the rock, and they strike the rock, and Moses said, "You rebels, shall we bring forth water from this rock?" Remember that story? See, that goes in the water in the wilderness. The death of Aaron, lots and lots of stories, but like I say, still not as many as you would expect in this whole period of time. In 20 and 21, we find the substance of the years involved in this period of time. And they move up into the land, and they go up to the east side of the river. They conquer the east side of the river Jordan. They come back to the plains of Moab, and then the story of Balaam comes. Has everyone heard of the story of Balaam? What's the thing you remember from the story of Balaam? One thing, huh? The donkey that what? That talked. That's right. But the point of that story was that here was a man who was bent on disobeying what he knew God wanted him to do. God had made that abundantly clear, and he was set on going on his own way. Because when that angel appeared before that donkey, 3 times that happened, and finally the angel appeared before Balaam, and then he told Balaam, "Balaam, your way is perverse before the Lord." In other words, you know the Lord doesn't want you doing that. So really, that's what the kernel of the story is about. So that's Balaam. Okay, so that's a pretty good little summary of the stories that go in this wandering in the wilderness period. You go from the wandering in the wilderness into what? Well, that was one out of what? Let's do that again. What period follows the wandering in the wilderness? That was very, very good. See, that way everybody can feel good. You don't get it the first time, you give it another chance, and then you just feel great. So, in the invasion and conquest, now, Michael summed it up like this. He said, they took the center of the land, and then the southern part of the land, and then the northern part of the land. By the way, I've also got a glimpse of Lane's teaching on Bible geography. And here's something that we're going to learn to do. We're going to learn to take, as it were, a sheet of paper. And we're going to learn to take our point up here and come down something like that. And we're going to learn to put our little Lake Hewlett in here, come down. We're going to learn to put the Sea of Galilee in, and then come down here and have our Dead Sea like so. So they crossed over, they took Jericho, they went up and took the Central Highlands, then they went south, and then they went north. And thus they conquered the land. They already had the east side conquered. Now in the period of the invasion and conquest, this starts after they cross the Jordan. The crossing of the Jordan brings to the end of the wandering in the wilderness. Now they are in the land, and they face their first challenge, which is Jericho. Jericho is the gate that guards the rest of the land on this west side. So they take Jericho, they take Achan. Anybody remember the story of Achan? Remember Achan? Achan was among the Israelite soldiers. They were told not to take anything. But Achan took some silver, gold, and a goodly Babylonian cape or mantle. And And when they tried to attack Ai, they didn't do very well. Also, when they're up here in the central part of the land, another story that's a very well-known story is the story of the Gibeonites and their deception of the Israelites. How many of you have heard of that story? I see that I'm going to need to do this. Once again, understand that when I say, how many of you know so-and-so? Don't ever think that if you say, I do, that then I will say, well, stand up and tell us about it. I won't ever do that. Well, I will never do that. But what I do want is to know whether you know it or not.
It sounds sort of, I'll never do that, and they never, okay, now tell them.
I won't do it. The reason why I won't do it is because it is extremely important to me to be able to ask you if you know something. If you tell me you know it, then I can go on. If you don't know it, then I'm going to stop and at least give you enough about it that you can understand what it is. We don't want to leave any holes. There are too many holes. We don't want to leave any holes. So my purpose in asking you that is to know that there aren't any holes. And you see how tactful I'm being. Because I didn't say how many of you don't know it. See, that would be saying, I'm ignorant. So I'm not asking how many don't know it. I'm asking how many do know it. The rest of them just quietly refrain, you see. But anyway, the Gibeonite story.
Somebody preached on that Sunday, I think, by the way.
Coming up.
No, the last Sunday.
Last Sunday. Who did? Did you preach on it? Oh, all right. The Gibeonite story. Let me just tell you in a little nutshell right quick. What you know about it. The Gibeonites lived in the city of Gibeon, and it really wasn't that far away from where the Israelites were camped. It was 3 days after the story occurred that the Israelites found that was immediately the journey was. It wasn't that far away. But they said, these Israelites are going to wipe everybody out. And we better do something about this. So they decided they'd go and ask the Israelites to make a treaty with them. But somehow or other, they had gotten in or figured out that the Israelites would make no treaties with cities within the land of Canaan. So they said, the only way we can do this is to pretend that we're from a city outside of the land of Canaan, very far away. So they made their preparations. They got old, stale, moldy bread, old, worn-out shoes, wineskins that were stretched and cracked. And they got all these preparations made. Here they came walking a few miles. They come, and I don't imagine them, they come on the crest of the hill. And then they're just walking along, coming to the crest of the hill, and it's going to our action. So they come into the Israelite camp. And they tell the Israelites, we have come to make a treaty with you. The Israelites said, how do we know you're not from within the land here? They said, well, look at these shoes. They were new when we left home. And this bread is fresh out of the oven. And so on. And the Israelites made a mistake of relying upon their own figuring ability rather than asking God, are these men telling the truth? So Israel made the treaty with them. And that actually led to the southern campaign because Gibeon was in the very northern part of this, what we recognize as the southern campaign. Yeah.
How many people are Israelites now?
What's
How
that?
many people?
The last figure that we had was the second census. And I always allow Kevin to tell me what the number was. One of them was 603 and one of them I think was 601 or something like that. Kevin, do you remember what the last figure was? All right. 603, 550. I never can remember whether that's the first census or the second census. So figuring on proportions that are usually given like 4 or 5 to 1, then you can figure maybe 3 million Israelites. Well, we know there were that many men of war at this time. Well, the southern campaign occurs. They defend the Gibeonites. They defeat all the kings down here in the south. And then the king of Hazor says, well, I better move where these Israelites are going to wipe us all out. So he gathers a coalition up here in the north. But there aren't any really notable stories that are associated with the northern campaign. After this, in Joshua, this is all in the book of Joshua, after this, they divide the land into tribes. They appoint the king of refuge. They give the rest of the priestly, Levitical cities. The tribes that are willing to live over here go at home And Joshua closes out his life by making a couple of important speeches to the people. Those are the stories that go in the invasion and conquest. Now, basically, it is just they come across, they take Jericho, the central part, the southern, and the northern campaign. They divide the land up. If you remember that much, you know sort of what goes in this box. Then we come to what? What's the next period? Are we reading that? How many vote for the United Kingdom? Oh, it's the what now? All right, very good. The judges. Joshua died, didn't he? Yeah, he died. And the elders who had known Joshua died. And then what did the people do? Right. Although they had conquered the cities in this area from the standpoint of no king could put an army in the field against Israel, many of the cities were still left intact with their idolatry and everything. When the land was divided up, the idea was that each tribe would take the cities in its territory and go ahead and root out the idolatry. But they didn't do that. So that meant that there was this idolatrous example around them going on. Gradually they got to know their neighbors. Gradually they got curious about, wonder what they do when they worship their idols. And then they tried it out. And this leads us into the period of the judges. How many of you can name the judges? All right? Eventually, I will say, how many of you can name the judges? And every arm in here will go up. Believe me, it will happen. Anybody in here know about the flashlight? Some of you don't know about the flashlight. Here's the idea. You're going to have to learn this so well that is at 3 o'clock in the morning. Flashlight. Name the judge. Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar. You're going to have to know it, and you will know it. And it will be hard, because we're going to do it piece by piece, layer by layer. And you know what? Once you know the judges, then who else needs to know the judges? Your children. And your friends, neighbors, anybody you can meet, anybody that can sit down at a table with you and study. You know, one of the things that I want to mention to you to start thinking ahead about when you're teaching your classes, you know, that's one of the big deals we've got here, being able to teach your children, being able to teach your classes. One of the very important things to remember is that there are lots and lots of lists of things that need to be learned. Now, you may think, well, what is the value of learning a list of judges? It's simply this. How would you be able to know what the book of Judges is about if you don't even know which judge follows the next? How can you possibly have an outline of the book of Judges in your head without knowing who the judges are and what history is? So, in this class right here, we're learning a lot of things that at first glance might seem to be, well, I don't really see what the spiritual point of this is. But you're learning tools here. You're learning some basics, some tools in here. Some very basic things that are really going to help you later on when it comes time to teach. And you will find that children eat this up. They just love to go over lists. And when you're teaching a class, and you've told them a story or something like that, and then you need a break, you need a change of activity, one of the things they love to do, and very valuable for them, is go over your list, name your list. And as time goes on, I'm going to show you good ways to do that. But we won't do it tonight. But here, the judges. Stories such as Ehud, who was a left-handed man. See, he was a left-handed man. And he is known well because he stabbed he was badder than I, a lot. So, he stabbed the fat kid, Ehud. See, then there was a fellow that had an army of 32,000, and it was put down and killed 300. Then there was a story goes like here. Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar, Deborah, and Gideon. What about? That was good. You recognize it. Samson, was he strong because he had huge bones and huge muscles and no. Why? He obeyed God, and God gave him the strength through the Spirit of God. I don't know what Samson was like, but I know he didn't have the strength purely from his muscles and bones. He had it from the Spirit of God. Okay, did you learn that there were two judges whose story is, was that Bill? Help me hear it. There are two judges whose stories are not told in the book of Judges. Anybody know who they are? If you do, would you like to tell them? Eli and Samuel. Eli and Samuel. Now, the thing that we're emphasizing about Samuel during this level of the plow, going through the field, is that Samuel is the link with the next period. What's the next period? United Kingdom. Because it was in the days of Samuel that people asked for the kingdom. So see, that's important. The transitions are very important to learning these periods so that they have a meaningful relationship together. But in the latter part here of the Judges, Eli and Samuel, one of the most famous stories, of course, is the birth of Samuel, his mother Hannah. And she prayed and given this child, she brought the child, ministered at the tabernacle. And I say again, probably the most famous story here is about the night Samuel was asleep and God called him. Samuel. Remember that story? So that goes in here. Also, the taking of the ark by the Philistines, and the ark being in Philistine territory. Remember the story that they had the ark before the god Dagon, and what did Dagon do? He fell. See, when you fell, that was had to fall. Come on, wait. Don't fall. You might break your head off or something. That would be too early illustration. Okay, so that story is in the close of the period of the Judges. Okay, so when people say, Samuel, you're old, your sons don't walk in your ways, we want to. That introduces us then to the United Kingdom. And when you think of United Kingdom, what else do you think of? You see, that's easy. Not easy. All the way through. All right, so when Samuel anointed the first king of Israel, he stood head and shoulders above everybody. What was his name? Saul. And then we have David, and then Solomon. And there are so many stories in here that I'm not going to try to take the time now to go over all of them. But in the story of Saul, we have his rescuing the men of Jabesh and Gilead. We have the invasion of the Philistines, where Saul apparently loses his faith or courage or whatever. He's kind of skulking around. And Jonathan goes out with his armor bearer. He comes up here to this cliff. The Philistines are up there on top of the cliff. And he says to his armor bearer, well, you and I go up there and see if we can put these ones away. We'll see if God will deliver them into our hands or not. And they climb their way up this cliff, get up there on top. They begin killing Philistines. And fear spreads through the whole camp, and the Philistines just begin to run like they're scared to death. And so that story, and one of the most famous stories in here, because it's used by preachers so much, is the Saul told to go kill all of the Amalekites. And he killed all of the Amalekites, but Agag, the king, and the best of the animals, right, yeah. And when he came back, he told Samuel, oh, we're going to offer these sacrifices. And Samuel said, behold, and to hearken them as the path of ram. We won't go on with that, but there's some more of that that would be good for you to remember. Some of you already know that probably, but all of us know one thing. Isn't that good? Okay. After this, we have the story of the anointing of David. And then what's the story you're right? By the way, remember, it's not like that. It wasn't a slingshot like that. It was one with these leather thongs and a pocket out here with a rock in it, about the size of a small hen's egg.
It was a slingshot.
Yeah, it really was a slingshot. And, so that story, and then remember the trouble that they were dying in Saul? Remember that? And fled, and there was this conflict there. Remember, he eventually went over to the Philistines, and time went by. And do you remember the story of Saul going to the witch? That's a good story. First So then we have Saul being killed. And after this, David becomes king, and King becomes king, even though he was anointed king back in chapter 16, he doesn't become king in actual fact until after Saul was dead. So then we have the life of David, and David had so many successes, so many good things going for him. He defeated all of the enemies round about. But in this period, what's the story that everybody remembers? David and Bathsheba. And then after that, you have the rebellion of Absalom, and then you have the short-lived rebellion of Sheba. Yeah, right, Absalom. And the short-lived rebellion of Sheba, David gets to be an old man. He says, Solomon is to rule after me. And one of the reasons why there were problems down the road was because David took the unprecedented step of making Solomon king before he died. Usually when a king was very old and sick like this, he might just go ahead and say, now I've designated Solomon to be the next king, and then they would wait till he died to actually make him king. But in this case, David saw the need and went ahead and made him king. So we have Solomon. What do you remember about Solomon? Wise. Wisdom. Hey, wait a minute. Well, look at what we've got going here. We've got a string of two W's. Let's keep the W's going. Well. Works. How about that? 4 W's. You summed up Solomon's life. And I don't care what order you take them, as long as you come up with the right form. Wisdom, wise, wealth, works. There you have it. Solomon. Let's do it again. Wisdom, wise, wealth, works. And all you have to do then is amplify on each one of those words, and it'll bring back to your mind what that word suggested. Did start thinking.
You put it in a little different order, and you say you went from good to bad by putting it wisdom, wealth, and then wise and work.
All right. Now, if you get to thinking about that, then you say, all right, wisdom will definitely be first. All right. Then you've got his temple building, which followed immediately. His temple building and the building of his own palace and stuff like that. So it might be better to say works next. Then his, I don't think it'd be a coin toss, wealth or wise, because that wealth was pouring in, but he was also marrying wives. So
work for people that.
that's right. So on something like that, I would rather you remember it in a way that means something to you, a pattern that really means something to you. Now, if you're trying to learn chronology, then you don't have any choice. You have to learn the way it happened. But when you're looking at some topics that suggest aspects of someone's life like that, you can do your best to put it in a chronology or a logical manner or alphabetical or whatever you want to do. But those are the 4 topics that sum up Solomon's life. Now, the thing to remember about Solomon is that what do these specifically, what do these wives lead him into? Idolatry. And the idolatry led Solomon away from God. So what happened to the kingdom? It split. So, what is the name of the next period? You caught that, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. It split or divided. So the next period is the divided kingdom. And then this divided kingdom consisting of, yeah, that's right. Which one of these now is in a row? Top, this one in the north and we in the south. And And note this nifty way. The divided kingdom continued until Israel was taken away, leaving. See what a strong visual that is? 3 o'clock in the morning. Israel gone, leaves. Okay, next time we're going to look at the stories in the box, in the divided kingdom. And we'll go on through like this. Then we'll turn around, set our plow down deeper.